So, in the, I believe, second episode, we talked a lot about stress and what it does to your body. It's not good. So, remember that. That's huge to remember that in particular. So, why it starts to show up in the second half is that it's that, what do you call it? Compounding effect. I guess that's the best way to put it. And it is then becomes chronic stress. Definitely affects your entire nervous system, which affects how your body reacts to everything. So today, I want to talk about what you can actually do about it, because understanding stress is one thing, but learning how to regulate your system is a completely another thing. And this is where people often get stuck. It's like, okay, so I know I have stress, but I don't know what to do about it. So we're really never taught the skills on how to regulate it. So we're going to talk a lot more about that in this particular episode. We're going to talk about breath work again, walking, light exposure, evening wind down, and reducing stimulation. And then in the next episode, we're going to talk about connections and what those connections do to help us really cope with life and actually move through the good and the bad of everything that goes on. So, buckle up, here we go. Hello, and welcome back to Aging is Direction. I'm your host, Kathy Clements, longevity strategist, and I'm really glad you're here. So, if you listened to the first episode, we talked about some foundational things, and one of them is that aging isn't decline; it is direction. That's huge. You have to think about that. So, in the second half, we just have to think about what life strategies we need to change or do differently to solve the same problems. And most people try and solve those health issues by doing more of the same instead of changing as we age. So they do more workouts or more, they think they need more discipline or they need more control or figure out what it is that's more. And what we really need is regulation. And that regulation comes in the form of our nervous system. Our nervous system drives results. And so let's talk about what the nervous system does. So if you think about it, your nervous system, it's talked about in so many different ways. So you say, I'm nervous, meaning that, you have maybe anxiety or you're getting worked up because of maybe a meeting or an interview or a project, or pick whatever that is for you and see how that, how it makes your body feel. And your body does feel different things. So your nervous system, though, let's talk about that, when it comes to stress, isn't just emotional. It's actually physiological. And your nervous system determines how your body's going to respond. So, without getting too sciencey and stuff on this, there are two different ways that your body needs to respond to stress. And one of them is considered on the sympathetic side, and the other is the parasympathetic side. And as we go through things, so the sympathetic is the take action, move forward, push on, I've got to do this. And the parasympathetic is the part that says, okay, now it's time to come down, let's recover and get back to whatever you consider your level playing field. So One, you need both of these things. You need the sympathetic that pushes you to go, and you need the parasympathetic that brings you back down so that you can rest and recover. But we don't always have that balance, and that balance truly matters. So I'm going to talk about it in a couple different ways. Um, so the first one is high performer patterns. So people that you would consider high performers, whether they are corporate, military, law enforcement, um, entrepreneurs, all those all those different fields, people are on, if that's a better way to put it. They're physically on and ready to go at a moment's notice, depending on what the situation needs. So many people live in that constant state of activation. And I view it as sort of four different ways. So, or four different levels, I should say. So, if you're in a parasympathetic recovery zone, you're green, you're at the bottom, and you could be sleeping. Maybe green for you is actually sleep. And then just above that is a yellow zone where you're awake, you're alert, but nothing's really happening. And then let's say, let's put it in context. Let's say a fire alarm goes off, or maybe not maybe a phone call. You get a phone call and it's a little aggravating. So now you raise to level orange. So you've gone from green to yellow to orange. And then within that conversation, you find out, you know, the worst thing, someone in your family's been injured, they're at the hospital, and now you go to red or high alert. You're in red and you have to do something. So you're responding, whatever that means. So running, grabbing your keys, getting in the car, going to the hospital, being there for whatever you need to do. Or if it's a long ways away, you are, packing a bag, calling the airlines, getting a flight, and you're on your way to making that happen. The people that live at that level are always thinking, they're always doing, and that becomes their baseline. So think about that. You're living in that red area as a baseline. I can tell you that personally, I wasn't red all the time, but I was orange to red when I was deployed. I was constantly vigilant. I I lived in another one. I lived in Washington D.C. when we had the shooter. Golly, what year was that? 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. Who the sniper, the DC sniper, was going around. People didn't want to pump their own gas. People didn't want to get outside. They feared for themselves, and so now their activation level has heightened. So it's all these kinds of things that change where your body's. Another good word is homeostasis, where it's at that even keel, where it needs to stay when you're not activated. So homeostasis would be green, and what brings you back down. Now, the other thing I think about are my background's actually science. So if these things are boring to you, I apologize. But you see a sine wave in math. If you think about math and there's a sine wave, you're at that peak is when you're completely activated, and when it comes down is when you're in the parasympathetic mode and you're actually recovering. If you can't get your body to actually go into both of these areas, then your body there's physiological changes that occur in your body. And as we age, let me bring it back full circle. As we age, our body doesn't recover as quickly from staying in this elevated, alert state. So different things happen. One of them could be cortisol, the influx of cortisol in our body. And therefore, it does a lot of different things, which I'll get into. But cortisol is naturally occurring in your body. It's highest in the morning. It's one of those chemicals in your body that is supposed to help you wake up. And then it starts to deplete in the early afternoon, and it goes very low in the evening because it then helps you relax and get ready to sleep for the night. But if your rhythm is off, the cortisol just stays high. And what cortisol does, it disrupts that chronic stress, disrupts what this natural rhythm is supposed to be. So for most of us, that leads to either poor sleep or general fatigue and weight changes. So cortisol is always the issue when it comes to, belly fat or the getting thicker around the middle. And because that's where it stays. Or that's where it not stays, but that's where it shows itself, I guess is the best way to put it, to most people. So I would say as you age, so I've heard women talk about, as soon as they hit their 40s or their 50s, that their weight started to go up and everything else in their body seemed normal. And what the doctors don't always test for is cortisol levels or ask you about what kind of stressors are in your life. And you would think, I don't know, most of us would think, I suppose, that as we age, that maybe stress goes down for us. But it depends where you are in your career or what your family situation is or your life circumstances. This can change for everybody. So cortisol can be one of those chemicals that's really playing havoc with the rest of the way your body's reacting to stress. And as you age, your body is not going to release that cortisol as quickly as it might in your 20s or 30s. And it's going to hold on to that. And it's going to change the way you feel. And you have to, that's a terrible way to put it. It's important to find a way to release the stress so that cortisol releases, so that your body can then come back down into a green zone, so that you can then be in a parasympathetic state so that your body can rest. You're then getting your sleep. You're then getting whatever you need to get rid of the fatigue or whatever else is going on in your body. So cortisol, although important, it is something that we have to not worry about, but consider as we age. And staying stressed out or staying at a heightened alert isn't necessarily going to work for all of us as we age. It's going to be something that's more difficult to get rid of. So that's number one. Number two is if you have that high cortisol, your sleep is another recovery. That's part of that parasympathetic on the downward side of that sine wave. And if you're not getting good sleep and your body's not recovering, everything else will decline. So it's during sleep that your body recovers strength, that your body is able to help focus and regain your energy. It's during sleep that your systems, let's talk about your liver, your brain, all these systems begin to cleanse themselves. And if you're not getting that good deep sleep, there's waste product that's left in your brain, that's left in your liver, that's not cleared away. And if you're not clearing those things out of your system, again, it gets The easiest non-scientific thing to say is it just gets bunched up in there and it disrupts the rest of the functions of your organs. So if your liver's not functioning properly, you're not detoxifying like you should, then your um, waste system, that's a nice way to put it, your digestive system is probably backing up a little bit, or it's not voiding like it should. There's many things that can start to dysregulate as you go, and all of those things can what do you call it, be fixed, I suppose that's the best way, when you get good nights of sleep, when your rest is there and your body is able to recover um, during during the night when you should be sleeping. I just feel a frog coming on, excuse me. So sleep, although we used to think it was optional, um, I know many a day where, boy, well, in my 20s, where I might have gotten 2 or 3 hours a night, been out all night, and then gone right into work at, well, home, shower, change, and then right into work. And I was able to recover from it. Not that I didn't need sleep the next night, but I was still able to do that probably multiple times if I think about it in one week. Now, I got to tell you, that's not happening. I I value my sleep, and all of you should be thinking the same thing. Sleep must be protected. Um, the second time I thought about sleep was after having children. When my kids were infants, you don't get sleep throughout the night. Doesn't matter. Well, it does depending on the breakdown in responsibilities within your family. But um, if you are, uh, if you share those responsibilities with your husband, nighttime feedings or um, just getting up to change diapers, things like that in the middle of the night, it breaks up your sleep. So your sleep is always interrupted those first few, well, it depends on how your children how easily they adapted to sleep. I was very, I was blessed. Mine started sleeping through the night probably at 2 months, and therefore I got a great night's sleep. And I will tell you the feeling of elation I had when I realized, wow, I feel so great. I've had this great night's sleep. Well, that was when I was younger. Now, as somebody who is older, I deal with clients too that don't sleep through the night, and they kind of drag in to the gym and don't have the same energy level, and then find themselves napping through the day. Okay, I am not a napper. My husband's a napper, and I will tell you that um, a nap is not a bad thing as long as it doesn't mess with your sleep at night. Statistically, right now, unless it's changed, 7 to 9 hours, surprisingly, even for adults, even for older adults, is still the go by for what is expected to help your body recover, help your body begin to repair itself and do what's necessary to keep going. So, sleep is number two.
Just send there should be a code that sends your phone. I need it.
Okay, let me, I'm going to let this recording go and you're just going to have to break it. Oh, that's what you say. What am I doing?
Need you to give me the secure link.
To the USAA?
Mhm.
What do you need?
I need to get into the account.
Okay,
It should be.
I'm just going to do this. I'm going to give you the password.
I already got the password. Arizona girl
No, I had to change it today.
That'd be the reason why I couldn't get in.
All right. Now it's
I just want to get it on my phone so I don't have to do this anymore.
okay.
I don't know why. Everything I got kicked out of every account that I have.
That's an A and a Z. Do you need that done
I
differently?
don't need that. I just need the password.
Okay.
So it's A1A.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. Wait, can I start this again?
So, match.
Capital A, then one, then A, and capital B, A-M-A. All right. Tell me when you get it so I can keep going.
Got it.
Okay.
Oh, you're gonna get another security code to your phone.
Okay. All right. 957795. All right. All right. So you have to protect your sleep. That's the bottom line. So the next thing that can help your nervous system is being able to breathe well. That sounds weird. Can I breathe? And the answer is, yeah, I always breathe. What's the process? Well, you'll find, and I found this as well. I thought this was interesting that um, so I recently started going to the sauna, and sometimes depending on how hot it is, so at the lower temperatures, like 135, 140, I can actually fall asleep in it. And I was at the sauna at my doctor's office for a detox program and came out, and one of her staff told me after they tested me, said that my oxygen levels were low. And she asked me if I had sleep apnea. And I said, no, I don't have sleep apnea, but I do have a low heart rate. So when I fall asleep, then my heart rate also goes way down. And it appears that I wasn't getting a lot of oxygen as I was sleeping. So she was concerned for me. And I breathed a couple nice deep breaths for her, and she realized the oxygen just went up, boom, just like that. But breathing regulates your state as well. So let's talk about what good breathing is. So slow breaths um, indicate like a safety signal for your body. So I have clients that will, and I've done it as well. So they start to do a HIIT workout, and uh, their heart rate goes up as it should, as we want it to, and their breathing gets out of sync with their heart rate because they're mouth breathing. And in doing that, the body assumes there's like a fight or flight type situation going on versus a situation that's just activity or fitness related. So being able to slow your breath, some people go, I can't control my breathing, but it is the one system within your body that is sympathetic and parasympathetic. And as you talk to yourself, you can. It's for some people, it takes a little bit longer to work with their body to do it. But the bottom line is you can. So what I would tell my clients is, all right, close your mouth, breathe in through your nose, nice and deep, exhale through your mouth, nice and slow. And I never gave them a count. I just told them to start breathing slower. Then I said, okay, breathe in for 2, out for 4. And in that way, your heart rate will automatically start dropping. You'd be really surprised if you've never done this for yourself before, but it actually works. I can tell you that during road races, the last one I did was a couple years ago now, but if I get in a group that's the pace is faster than I'm prepared to run for that race, I'll still start as fast as the rest of the people in that group because, the energy's there and the adrenaline's there and you just kind of get going. And then my body says, what are you doing? And because of that, then my heart rate starts to get out of sync and that whole thing starts. So what I do is I slow my pace back, begin to do those deep breaths, recollect my heart rate, get it down to where I know it's good and it's not feeling like it's going to come out of my chest. And my breathing is then back in check. And then I can go back up to the pace to run my own race, basically, and not the pace that all these other people were running in that particular group. So think about that as different ways to control your nervous system, to help your nervous system help you, basically. So slowing your breath is that safety signal. So practice, 4 inhales or 4 counts for the inhale and 6 counts for an exhale. And at first, 4 to 6 might seem like a lot. So try inhaling 2 or 3, but just make whatever you're exhaling twice as long as what you were inhaling. And that's going to start you to actually relax and get your breathing under control. The more you practice breath control, you'll find if you do yoga or practice yoga or practice Pilates, and even in weightlifting, um, there's breath control that can be used. It's more of let's see, like I'll show you with biceps, it's a 4 count up and a 2 count to down. So during the contraction for the bicep is when you want to exhale your breath so that you can it's kind of like aiding your muscles in contracting. And then you extend the muscles to relax, you inhale, and then breathe out again as you're coming up. That's one way to look at it. Yoga, if you're practicing yoga, sometimes they'll box breathe. So it's 4 counts in, hold it for 4 counts, 4 counts out, hold it for 4 counts, and do that in a repetition. And again, if you've not done any kind of breath control in the past, then 4 might be a large number to start with. So think about starting with 3 or 2. And I find when I haven't done it in a while that the hardest one is really the holding of my breath after I exhale. I don't know why, but it is before I allow myself to inhale again. So you might find the same thing. I'd love to hear. Let me know what you find and what you find easy and hard about that. But simple, effective breath control. So another way to work on your nervous system is walking. And I don't mean speed walking. I don't mean really, getting your hips and your legs and everything going. That's more exercise. This is like a tool to go out, be outside, be in nature is awesome. And no tension. If you can, no inner distractions. So nothing in your ears, not listening to anything, even this podcast. Although I'd love for you to listen to it as you walked, um, but really just enjoy your environment. We don't, when we walk with our dogs in the morning, we get to see the sunrise. Um, we don't really talk a lot. We just follow the dogs and they know the route that we're going to take. For the most part, it's consistently the same. It's about 1.5 miles. Some days are brisk, some days are nice and warm. But any way you look at it, it's just good to get outside. It's a great way to wake up. It helps you with your mood, being able to walk. It helps regulate that stress just by that movement of getting out, moving your body, getting it ready for the day. And uh, that sign that I mentioned earlier, I knew there was another name for it. It's called a circadian rhythm. It just came to me. And if it's not your time of day in the very early morning to go walk, do it when you know your energy's high. It's kind of like you don't do your workout in the morning if you're not a morning workout person. And you already, by our age, you usually know if that's a thing for you or if that's not a thing for you. It's my thing. I work out in the morning. By noon, forget it. I've let the day go and I am not about to. Okay, so I have I do have times where I do work out in the afternoon. It's not preferred by my body or me. I just don't have the energy that I usually have in the morning to accomplish that same workout. So all I'd say is consistent, being consistent is great on getting those whenever you getting that opportunity to walk. I even see people that have a treadmill underneath their desks now, whether it's a slow pace, a fast pace. I think for most people, it's pretty much a slow pace, but they're moving. And I don't know that it's about necessarily getting your steps, but it's definitely about not sitting for the entire day, which is what I'm doing right now and what I do, unfortunately, for a few hours every day. I try and make myself get out more, do my exercises, and definitely do my walks. So again, it helps you regulate your mood, it'll help regulate stress, and it helps your circadian rhythm. So something else, and I already mentioned it, but if you think about it in a different way, your nervous system loves light exposure. So morning light, and uh, again, this is not saying get out and walk. Let me just back up a second. It's not saying get out and walk. It's just saying think about how people used to be before we had electricity. They went to bed when it was dark or pretty soon after, and then they got up when it was light or roughly around that time because they either had chores to do around their farm or work or whatever they had to do. But light exposure in the morning improves sleep later in the afternoon or in the evening. And uh, so getting out and seeing the sunrise, that's amazing. I didn't, I had a niece that didn't think that was a thing. She's, she goes, I don't think I've ever seen the sunrise because she would get up obviously much later. But she did have a more, I ended up getting a text message from her one day and it was the sun rising. She could have been fooling me and it was a sunset and I wouldn't probably know the difference. But regardless, it was funny, or at least I thought it was. But anyway, morning light improves your sleep for later. And then evening darkness also helps you support that parasympathetic recovery system that your body already has for your nervous system. So that darkness, it's usually telling you, okay, it's time to go to sleep. This sounds like these are things that we should all know. And I guess our bodies know them and we just think we can adjust them. And I know I have a daughter that is a night owl. She can be up till 1, 2, 3 in the morning doing art projects or whatever she's doing, and then sleep late and not think anything of it. I personally think that's partially her circadian rhythm. But now that she's working, those hours obviously have changed for her and she is still up early, but I think she still stays up kind of late. So she's also young. She's not our age. And right now, she can make that work for her, but she needs to start thinking about ways to change that. All of us need that 7 to 9 hours of sleep. So, light exposure, very simple, but very powerful. So, I think the thing to take away, one of the things to take away, is to realize that you can't outtrain a dysregulated system. And if your nervous system is out of whack with how stressed out you are or how much stress you're carrying versus how your body releases it, that's, you've got to start thinking about that as we age more. I'd say more so than we did in our 20s and 30s. And you need to start thinking about how you support your body to support your nervous system, how you can get rid of that stress, maybe by walking, maybe by light exposure, maybe by your better sleep or through breath work. But all that plays into how your nervous system will react in the future and for you as you continue on through all of your ages. So you must support it. That's my bottom line. Now, what I'm going to say as we begin to close this session is here's what I'd love for you to think about. Where are you overacting? Where are you not releasing either the stress or the activity that would then optimize your sleep at night? So think about that. Where are you or not acting, but over activating? Maybe that's a better way to put it. So over activating, do you get worked up over family issues, or we just passed tax season, maybe financial issues, or what is it with you that you need to think about and figure out how to regulate? So then the next thing I'd love for you to try is one daily regulation practice. So is it taking a walk? Is it breathing in a different way? Is it trying to maybe go to bed a half hour early? Is it, what is it that you can do to then slow your system back down and get it back into that green zone? Some people say also that it is no electronics a half hour before they intend to go to bed. Whether it's the emissions, the wavelengths from the whatever they're have in their hand, their phones or whatever, or if it's something, the lights on the television or whatever, or computers. So think about that. Maybe it's stopping work a little bit earlier than normal. And then what I'd love for you to carry forward is a calm is the performance of advantage. So that sounds weird to say that, but calm is the performance advantage. So another way, as long as you can calm your system, you have a performance advantage because your body is regulated in the way that it is recovering. So hopefully that makes sense. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode We're going to talk about connection, purpose, and the second half in the next episode. I'll see you then.